सरप्राइज! आज हम बात करने वाले हैं प्राइम वीडियो की टॉप 10 सबसे खौफनाक और हॉरर फिल्मों की, जो आपके जहन में बस जाएंगी और शायद आपकी नींद भी उड़ा दें। नंबर 10, द मैनर। एक साबका मशहूर बिलरीना डांसिंग स्टार जो स्ट्रोक के बाद एक नर्सिंग होम में मुंतकिल होती है। शुरू में सब नॉर्मल लगता है, मगर जल्द ही उसे एहसास होता है कि यहाँ कुछ बहुत गलत है। रात के वक्त पुरअसरार साए, मरीजों की मशकूक अमवात और एक ऐसी मौजूदगी जो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता सबको अपनी गिरफ्त में ले रही है। ये फिल्म बुढ़ापे के खौफ और जहनी अजियत को एक हौलनाक शक्ल में दिखाती है। नंबर 9, इवाना। दो यतीम बहन भाई एक नए घर में आते हैं, लेकिन जल्द ही पता चलता है कि वहां एक पुरानी बदरूह मौजूद है। एक औरत जिसका सर एक तारीखी इंतकाम में कलम कर दिया गया था, अब बदला लेने लौट आई है। ये एक खूनी और माफौकुल फितरत कहानी है जो माजी के गुनाहों को जिंदा कर देती है। नंबर 8, नॉक्टर्न। एक बासलाहियत मगर नजरअंदाज की गई पियानिस्ट एक पुरअसरार नोटबुक
Across the walls, and an ancient withering evil seems to feed on fear and frailty, growing stronger with each passing day. The Manor is a haunting descent into elder dread, where the final chapter of life is haunted not by memory but by something waiting to take everything. Number 9, Ivanna.
Kak, kayaknya patungnya gerak, Kak.
Ambar and her younger brother Dika, bereft after their parents' deaths, begin a fragile new life under the care of a family friend, only to discover that their new sanctuary harbors a centuries-old horror. Ambar, newly endowed with the ability to perceive the invisible, becomes haunted by visions of Ivanna, a Dutch woman decapitated in an act of violent colonial vengeance. When their elderly grandmother is found brutally beheaded, the siblings realize they are ensnared in a supernatural cycle of revenge that transcends time. Directed by Kimo Stambul, Ivanna is a gruesome atmospheric horror that dredges up the sins of the past, where the most terrifying spirits are those that history refuses to lay to rest. Number 8, Nocturne.
Really want that spotlight. You wouldn't let anything get in your way. Not even your sister.
Juliette Lowe, a gifted but overshadowed pianist, haunts the quiet halls of an elite arts academy, until a classmate's tragic suicide thrusts a mysterious notebook into her hands, and with it, a dark symphony she can't resist. Driven by envy of her prodigious twin sister, she begins to play a cursed composition that promises brilliance, but exacts a toll on her mind. As she chases the spotlight, reality splinters into nightmarish visions drawn from occult symbols and dreamscape collisions, and the boundary between ambition and damnation blurs. Nocturne is a brooding psychological horror disguised as a musical rivalry, where the greatest masterpiece may be the one that destroys the soul. Number 7, the Poughkeepsie tapes. A seemingly abandoned house in Poughkeepsie yields hundreds of dusty videotapes, each one a warped page in a killer's private diary of abduction, torture, and dismemberment. As crime scene investigators and FBI profilers piece together the footage, the house becomes a mausoleum of human horror, and the tapes a confession as cold as the grave. The killer remains faceless, hidden behind masks and static, yet his presence pulses through every frame, turning voyeurism into obsession. With each grainy reel, the film drags you deeper into the mind of a psychopath, until the real terror isn't what you see, but what you imagine in the flickering corners. Number 6, Lake Mungo.
Footage of a figure moving across the hallway.
When 16-year-old Alice Palmer drowns in an Australian dam, her family is left fractured, drifting through grief like ghosts themselves. But soon the mourning deepens into dread. Bruises bloom on her brother's arms. Strange images flicker in home videos, and grainy footage suggests she still lingers among them. As they invite seances and exhumations in search of solace, the boundaries between memory and presence blur, revealing secrets Alice carried to her grave. Presented as a mock-doc horror tapestry, the film peels back grief one layer at a time, making loss feel as tangible and as supernatural as a heartbeat in the dark. Lake Mungo is a slow-burning, emotionally shattering descent into what we leave behind and what refuses to let go. Number 5, Killers.
Why do this?
Because it makes you feel
Nomura, a polished Tokyo office worker, conceals a depraved appetite, posting videos of his killings online for twisted applause. Across oceans in Jakarta, investigative journalist Bayu stumbles upon one of these grim tapes, and instead of recoiling, he finds himself ignited by the thrill of anonymity and the idea of justice through blood. As Bayou sinks deeper into this shared obsession, the two lurkers forge a dangerous digital bond. A countdown to confrontation where virtual applause morphs into mortal rivalry. With each uploaded murder, the contest grows more brutal, and both killers spiral toward a face-to-face showdown drenched in vengeance and notoriety. Number 4, Oculus. Kaylee Russell, haunted by the bloody deaths of her parents, returns home after years of investigating the uncanny mirror she believes destroyed her family. Alongside her reluctant brother Tim, still confined by trauma, she sets up surveillance in the old family house, seeking to document the mirror's true power before destroying it. But the glass doesn't just reflect, it twists memory, warping the past and present into a hall of echoes. Hallucinations bleed into reality, trust fractures at every blink, and the mirror's malevolent will pulses just beneath the surface. Written and directed by Mike Flanagan, Oculus is a psychological mirror maze of dread, where the greatest terror is not what you see, but what you believe you know. Number 3, The Endless.
It's gonna control you over and over again.
We're all stuck in these things!
We couldn't be happier.
Justin and Aaron, brothers bound by a shared escape from a cult, have tried to rebuild their lives, but when a strange videotape arrives, it pulls them back to Camp Arcadia, the commune they fled a decade earlier. Greeted by familiar faces who haven't aged a day, they find the camp eerily untouched, suspended in a peaceful loop that feels too perfect to be real. As they search for answers, strange symbols appear in the sky. Time fractures around them, and their reality begins to collapse in on itself. The closer they get to the truth, the more they question whether they ever escaped at all, or if they're still trapped in something far older and far more terrifying than they imagined. The Endless is a cosmic horror spiral that pulls you in slowly, then never lets you go. Number 2, The Forbidden Door. Gambier, a celebrated sculptor basking in critical acclaim, lives a life draped in privilege and creative triumph, until mysterious pleas for help begin arriving through cryptic messages at his doorstep. As he peels away the polished surface of his existence, he stumbles upon a hidden door in his own home, one his wife urgently forbids him to open. His curiosity becomes obsession, drawing him into a clandestine world where twisted art, forbidden broadcasts, and a silent, suffering child threaten to shatter every layer of his carefully constructed life. Joko Anwar forges a psychological labyrinth of dread, where every revelation fractures reality, and every secret demands a sacrifice. Number 1, 10 Cloverfield Lane.
No! Don't open that door! They're going to get all of us killed!
Michelle, reeling from a sudden car crash, regains consciousness to find herself trapped in an underground bunker with 2 strangers. Howard, a gruff survivalist claiming the outside world has become toxic, and Emmett, a jittery young man who insists there's truth to Howard's warnings. As days pass within the claustrophobic concrete walls, the weight of skepticism and fear warps every glance and word. Is Howard a savior or a captor? When shadows fall over hidden truths, and the bunker's veneer of safety fractures, Michelle must navigate paranoia and deceptive calm in a fight to define reality before it suffocates her. The film, a taut psychological horror thriller that forces you to question whether the greatest threat is from above or from the man you're trapped with. Here are 4 other movies you have to see. The Invisible Man.
Surprise.
After escaping an abusive relationship, Cecilia begins to suspect she's being stalked by her ex, who's supposedly dead. As her life unravels under invisible assaults, she must prove she's not insane while being hunted by a presence no one else can see. A modern psychological twist on the classic horror tale. In My Mother's Skin. In World War II-era Philippines, a young girl desperate to save her dying mother makes a deal with a malevolent forest spirit posing as a fairy. The promise of help becomes a curse as the spirit demands an escalating price. A haunting folk horror steeped in colonial and familial dread. Get duked.
Your generation, you're always complaining, always saying that you are the victim.
Fuck off, get on done!
4 rowdy teens are dropped into the Scottish Highlands for a wilderness challenge, but the trip quickly turns deadly when they're hunted by masked aristocrats. Equal parts absurd and brutal, the boys must outwit their pursuers using their clueless chaos. A wild horror comedy with biting satire. Pizza. A pizza delivery boy enters a house that turns his routine drop-off into a surreal, nightmarish trap filled with ghosts and shifting realities. As he fights to escape, deeper secrets about his own past unravel. A clever horror thriller that blends scares with a smart twist.